Discover the new GPT-4o code completion model, now available in VS Code and JetBrains IDE. Hey developers, welcome to GitHub Checkout, your inside look at the new features and updates to level up your workflows. I'm your host, Andrea Griffiths, Senior Developer Advocate. Today, we're exploring something that is changing the way you use your favorite coding assistant, GitHub Copilot, diving in to the new code completion model, Copilot GPT-4o. This new model is bringing smarter, more context-aware suggestions to your editor. Joining us is Sujin Choi, Senior Product Manager, here to show us how exactly this new model works and what makes it so special. Sujin, welcome. So let's start a little bit with the big picture. Can you walk us through some of the highlights for this new completion model?
Yeah, sure. So as developers, we're always adapting to new standards, new frameworks, new APIs, and the same goes for an AI pair programmer like GitHub Copilot. The biggest highlight of the new GPT-4o Copilot model is right in its name. So it's built on top of GPT-4o Mini, which is a step up from the existing model, which was based off of GPT-3.5 Turbo. So the challenge with the previous model was keeping up with fast-moving languages, right, like JavaScript, especially with frameworks like Next.js, or staying current with the latest like Python updates and so on and so forth. But with the GPT-4o Copilot, we use the 4o Mini base model, and on top of that, it's been trained on data through the end of last year. And so we're leveraging some insights from public code repositories and across many different programming languages.
That sounds very powerful. So what are some of the improvements that developers might notice versus when they were using the previous model?
The first is that you should see a reduction in latency. You see feedback like this is lightning fast, or things like, oh, this is much faster and is more accurate. And the second thing that developers will notice is that devs who felt previously a little bit left out, for the lack of better words, that's also changing. We've expanded the model's training to include 33 additional programming languages. We don't plan on stopping there either, too, right? Like, I know 33 is not all languages, and it's just the state of our model at this point. Our goal essentially is to ensure that more developers across broader range of languages can get these high quality completions tailored to their needs. And then the third one is that you should see overall boost in quality. So we're seeing more developers accepting Copilot suggestions, which tells us that the completions are not just faster, but also more relevant and more useful in a real world setting. And I can share a few examples here if you like.
That sounds like a massive upgrade. Let's see it in action.
So these are simple examples, but I think it illustrates the point really well. So I have VS Code open here, and to get the new model, you would need to click on this arrow button, configure code completions, and go to change completions model. Essentially, you would click on the new preview model to use that. But just to illustrate the point of comparing between the two models, let's go into one of these examples, right? FastAPI, for example. In here, I'm trying to create a FastAPI endpoint that handles user registration with some kind of email validation. Let's see what Copilot gives us for with the existing model. Looks okay. This is what you get with the older model. Let me actually go ahead and delete this and see what the newer model gives us. So let's go back to configure code completions and change the model to the new model. Okay. Oh. So you can see that it was actually a lot faster too. I don't know if you remember from earlier, but it wasn't really doing the input validation as well, right? Like it was, I don't think it was checking for the @ sign, and it wasn't outputting a very useful error message as well. We can see that from the previous model, it does the job, it's valid, but it's not the most ideal, right? And I have another example here. Let me go back to the older model here. User ID, and let's see what this gives us. It handles a response, it checks if the response is okay, and it throws an error. Pretty standard stuff. And then I'm going to try with the new model. Let's go back here and change it to the new model. And I'm going to change the method name so that it doesn't remember from the last accept. And see what we get here. Okay, so I think that's a lot cleaner as well, right? So we get the correct try and catch error handling, as well as the async and wait way of handling asynchronous code. And then it also looks for the response okay before parsing the JSON. Neither of those two are probably perfect in a real world setting, right? Like you would probably need to like handle timeouts, parse the actual errors and things like that. But I think it gives a great like boilerplate, better than the one that we had before.
Well, I can definitely notice the difference, and I think developers will too. The changelog mentions that it was trained on 275,000 repositories, public repos. I'd love to understand how were those repositories selected?
Yeah, sure. So the 275 repositories were selected based on their popularity from public GitHub repos, right? So this means that the model was fine-tuned on code that developers actually use and trust. And then we also analyzed real-world coding workflows, so like how developers edit and complete code, to really optimize the model for these fill-in-the-middle scenarios. So we combined reinforcement learning and execution feedback to make our training for the model a lot more smarter and understanding context, and also at improving the completions and to help you write better code.
Okay, well, so this sounds amazing. If you were already using the model, definitely give it a go.
Yep.
Go ahead and switch it up so you'll notice the difference. And then also, this is a great example of growing with the technology. And for people who've been here using it, that's great. What about beginners? Like for people that are completely new to Copilot, what would you recommend that they start with this model, or what kind of approach do you have for us to get started?
Yeah, I mean, this is the latest and the best model that we have, right? So definitely start with this model. The only thing that you would have to do is one, have VS Code, two, install the Copilot extension. So if you go to the extension tab, you'll see GitHub Copilot. This is the latest one that you want to be using. Third one is what I just showed you from the drop down here to change the code completions model as the new model.
Excellent. Okay. And now that it's been out for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, could you share some of the feedback that you've been hearing from folks testing this new model?
So somebody had said, "Oh, this is a breath of fresh air."
Nice.
And somebody also said, "I'm testing the new GPT-4o Copilot in some C# projects, and wow, it really nails my Blazor code." And then the other one is this person said, "I am heavily dyslexic, making quickly writing code extremely difficult. GitHub Copilot enables me to speed up the coding process dramatically." There was another person who said that they were using it for image classification and they never knew how to do it, but it was a really good one to use for hackathon project because it gave them a really good boilerplate code.
I particularly love the fact that the team is actually paying attention to this feedback, whether it be coming through from using the tool and joining the discussion online in our community forums, or just putting it out there, period. So friends, the team listens, so keep telling us how you love to see this model improve. So looking ahead, what can we look forward to in future iterations of Copilot 4o?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the most exciting things about Copilot is that it's not a static tool, right? It's constantly evolving. We are committed to making more regular updates, bringing in fresh knowledge, experimenting with new techniques to make completions faster and higher quality. Like any AI system, right? It definitely has its limitations, and we recognize that there are plenty of room for improvement. But from a product perspective, we want to ensure that it supports all languages equally well, and then that it stays up to date with the latest packages and standards, and that it better understands your intent. So those are the three things that we're really committed to do. From internal perspective, is that we are talking with GitHub and Microsoft language teams because they have the expertise. So we're leveraging their expertise to make sure we have the most accurate and most up-to-date idiomatic way of suggesting these completions to our users. You can check the GitHub changelog to see the latest updates that we're making to the model all the time. And like you said, right, like incorporating your feedback is a huge part of our development culture, just in general, and that's no different for Copilot. So please keep sending us your feedback. You know, we look at Reddit, we look at X, we look at like all the social channels.
Thank you so much, Sujin. That sounds awesome. I'm super excited for the future of this model. And thanks for all this hard work and for bringing it to us today. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And that was your first look at this powerful new model. Let me know in the comments, are you using it? Have you noticed a difference? Have you enabled it yet? And of course, if you find this helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any other feature updates and dev tips. Push these changes to main and we'll catch you in the next release.